Most Uber drivers are going to be replaced in the next 3 to 4, maybe 5 years with I think Compass's end game is to replace real estate agents. But you get these bigger billion-dollar companies and they get away with shit and they get fines slapped on them or they get ignored until they get a lawsuit. But the one thing that Zillow owns right now is they own traffic. If you only are focused on Zillow Flex, you put yourself in a very vulnerable space, and Zillow makes them that way. And that means give up on your family dinner, give up on your kid's soccer game, give up on a life, and you're freaking creating this nervous system of anxiety and reaction to everything you do. You don't slow down to actually become an owner. You're really just a surviving business operator.
The one thing that I'm cautious about is FHA laws with it, because even some of the AIs that I have, they start giving recommendations.
They hallucinate too much. My AI has about 7,000 conversations a month right now. I couldn't do that 10 years ago. Like, a great, thriving business has a never-ending amount of...
Colton, you're an infopreneur coach for real estate agents. You have over 125,000 followers on social media. And honestly, you made quite a few bold claims lately. Now, this one that I like. Compass and Zillow rivalry. What is it, and why should agents be scared to lose their license?
Oh, I think I think there's several factors to that. I think understanding what Compass's goal is, especially with their announcement of the acquisition of Anywhere, is they want to decentralize listing portals and they want to own the data, right? They're just going to acquire 1.2 million transactions a year. They don't really care if those models survive because they'll just bleed the agents into their system. And I also think that Compass in the end is like the Uber of real estate in the sense that most Uber drivers are going to be replaced in the next 3 to 4, maybe 5 years with the autonomous vehicles. I think Compass's end game is to replace real estate agents. I think the real estate space, right? Real estate deals. Zillow wants to get paid off of that, just like all of us do, right? So when you look at what this case is about is a lot of times, do I think what Zillow is doing is pretty messed up? Yeah, for sure. What they're doing is, if you or I did it, we're going to get in trouble, hands down. Like, there's no way around it, right? But you get these bigger billion-dollar companies and they get away with shit and they get fines slapped on them or they get ignored until they get a lawsuit, right? So some things will change. But the one thing that Zillow owns right now is they own traffic. And so I don't care if they've got 6 different lawsuits. Like, if you go into ChatGPT today, Andrew, type in anything about real estate, automatically it pops up. Do you want to go to Zillow on this? Do you want to use Zillow on this, right? They're promoting it. And what's interesting is GPT became faster used than Google. Like, it took what Google took 11 years. It took like 3 years or something, a few years for GPT to do, right? So essentially, these lawsuits are just like big dick swinging competitions, in my opinion. At the end of the day, do I think it sucks for Zillow? Like, I wouldn't want to be in Zillow's shoes. At the same time, I wouldn't be worried if I was in Zillow's shoes, like, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And I made a bold prediction yesterday, and people are giving me shit on this. I think Google's going to buy Zillow in 2026. I think it makes sense. You especially look at where Google's threatened is right now. Google is threatened with ChatGPT and OpenAI and what they have launched, quite honestly. Now, look at if they could do a partnership deal with Zillow and they can start to get into the real estate space. They're getting a different piece of the economy that they're not used to getting. And 1/5 of the US economy is pretty big.
Yeah. I don't think the Google and Zillow thing is going to go through, because have you heard how ChatGPT has partnered with Zillow?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You go into GPT now, they partnered with it. And I don't think that matters. I think
Really?
I think Google will be fine to keep that partnership deal.
Okay, fair enough.
Then
Yeah.
unless there's some type of exclusivity, then you could end up seeing Zillow partner with Gemini as well. I just don't think as many people are using Gemini in that same fashion.
Yeah, I definitely see that as well. So for context, I do SEO primarily for brokerages. And so what we find is 95% of our traffic are actually from ChatGPT and Perplexity.
Yeah,
It's like very minimal from Gemini. If
Mm.
anything, it's usually the ads on Google.
Exactly. Right.
So
So think about that. If Google owned Zillow and they have that partnership with GPT, they own they own that part of the traffic. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's so bad as well right now, because Zillow already dominates all of the search engine results pages, like all of them. They're number one basically everywhere you go. And so if you're in condos for sale or duplexes or something somewhat niche in an area, Zillow pops up. I mean, they own everything.
When you have
Now,
to understand too, Zillow is just based in the US, right? So now all of a sudden, if it's $15 billion market cap, if all of a sudden Google, which is a freaking gazillion billion market cap, right? All of a sudden now, why can't they then go easily duplicate that much faster in other markets, other countries? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Google's playing at a global market. Zillow's playing at a national market. What's the difference?
Correct, 100%. I would say they'd struggle in definitely a couple markets. So if you're looking at a lot of the real estate in other markets, like Australia, for example, they have realestate.com.au. That dominates is the Zillow equivalent. It's the same thing. Hmm. Zillow and Google would definitely be a scary partnership. However, I also want to focus on flex agents because I know that's a big thing. And I know a lot of the people who watch the podcast are brokers,
Mhm.
and I know a few of them are flex agents because I've talked to them.
Are they flex agents or are they like flex teams, like team leaders, or both?
Team leads,
Team leads.
mostly.
Cool.
So what's your opinions on that?
I think business boils down to three fundamentals: marketing, sales, and fulfillment. And a great thriving business has a never-ending amount of qualified leads. Like, that's just a fact. The challenge, if you only are focused on Zillow Flex, you put yourself in a very vulnerable space if one thing changes within their command of the lead, because they own the lead. And when they own when you own the lead, you own control. That's why I personally believe that the future of for real estate professionals is got to be building a personal brand. You've got to own iHeart. You've got to own audience, right? And you can't just do it on one platform. Like, I have quite a few followers on Instagram. I used to have quite a few followers on Facebook. I don't have Facebook anymore. I lost Facebook about a month ago. It was locked up, deactivated permanently, right? So my point is right now, if I didn't have other lead flow, that would suck. If you're relying on one thing, it would suck. I think the other thing that sucks for you as a Zillow Flex person is you're giving away so much, right? When I look at the cost of business, I'm a business owner. I break it down into cost of marketing, cost of sales, and cost of operations. For me to make a highly profitable business, I can't be giving up more than 20% on my cost of marketing. If I'm spending more than 20% cost of marketing, then I'm not running a very profitable business. So you're giving up 40% off the top. That's your cost of marketing and cost to sell. Then you're going to split what's left with your agents. Like, you're left with very thin margins on that, right? Whereas, and I don't know exactly how you guys do SEO, but I think if you run in other ways, whether it's through social media, through SEO, you have to own your lead flow so you're not giving up 40% margins. That's, I think, the fundamental thing that I would suggest. And I'm coming at this from just, hopefully you understand. I mean, I have multiple 7-figure business, 8-figure net worth, and this isn't like theory. This is factual things that I've learned over the last 20 years in business and working with my mentor, Harv Eker and Tony Robbins. Like, those two people who've helped. And I think another really great person that people should consider to look at is a guy named Keith Cunningham. He's one of the smartest business dudes I know, that he trains at Tony's Business Mastery event. So I've learned a lot from him. But the real core of your business are your financials, is your P&Ls. And the real problem with you real estate professionals, you just don't check your P&Ls enough. You maybe do it once a quarter, maybe,
Yeah.
but you should be checking those P&Ls, in my opinion, if you're running a 7-figure business, at least every 15 days. If you don't know because it's a snapshot of time. And if you wait 30, 90 days to check it out, you're too long on the snapshot. I don't know if that answers your question.
100%. Yeah, it definitely does. Like P&Ls in real estate is the biggest thing. And I'd say even a step before that as an agent, it's your CRM.
Right.
Because the thing is, you can't check your P&L until you have a system, and your CRM is your system as a salesperson.
Well, and
Sales,
that's the lead measures, right? When you look at these lead measures of like, how many leads are we driving in? What's my cost per lead? What's my cost for appointment? These are numbers that most agents never even consider, let alone a P&L.
Yeah, this is one thing that we had to do. So the biggest pill for me to swallow, especially in the real estate space, is I have to explain why this matters to a lot of agents. Because they
Yes.
see the lead number and they're like, oh, that's how much it's going to cost for me to close this person. It's like, no. You need to understand, okay, how many of those sign agreements, how many of them become buyers and sellers? Then downstream of that, how many of them actually close? And
Correct.
that's somewhat nuanced on the market. However, it's very important that you track that. And so one of the things that personally I implemented is we don't work with anyone unless they have a CRM and they're willing to track it.
Sweet. I think that
I
makes
know you're, yeah, I know you're a coach. Have you seen the same thing?
So what I help agents with is build their personal brands, right? And so we teach them to use Go High Level when building out their digital space. And we can measure these things inside of their books of or in their books of business if they're doing it right. I think back before CRMs were what they were today. Like my first CRM, just so you know, when I got into real estate, was a 3x5 index card in like a recipe box, right? So like technology didn't exist when I first started. But how we first started tracking it was obviously Google Sheets or Excel sheets back in the day, right? But I could break it down to every person I spoke with, I made $95. If I had one conversation, I made $95. If I set an appointment, that became a dollar amount. I remember like one time just going on the listing appointment, I was making $2,500 just to show up, whether I signed it or not. So you could break down these steps of the lead measures before you get to what people really care about, which is how much money am I making. But because realtors are so desperate today, and I want you to understand why they're desperate. Yeah, and I can tell you're a little bit younger, so you understand the new world of business really, really well. I can tell. The old world of business, though, it was most of people that have been in this business for a while, they understand that there's a giant change happening. They just don't know how it's changing. So we have crises, and some of the indicators of crises are AI, the NAR settlement. COVID was an indicator of crises, the culture shift that's happening, the political warfare that's happening. All these are indicators that the traditional industry of real estate that's existed for hundreds of years is gone. It's dead. It's smashed. And so now you can use these technologies like you're talking about to measure the lead measure and then the lag. The lag is really the revenue, right? And the lag is the profit. That's the lag measure. And really where these realtors suck is they're so overwhelmed. They're so frustrated. They're so confused on what's next. They have no sense of certainty on what this industry is going to do. So they're very reactive. And Zillow makes them that way because they put so much pressure that you've got to, like, when a lead reaches out, they say, Zillow's like, jump, and you have to say like, how fucking high. And that means give up on your family dinner, give up on your kid's soccer game, give up on a life. And you're freaking creating this nervous system of anxiety and reaction to everything you do. You don't slow down to actually become an owner. You're really just a surviving business operator with a high paying job that you burn all along the way.
Yeah, and even on top of it, like you said, you don't own the lead flow.
No,
So
you don't.
it's someone else's business that you're
Yep.
essentially just getting paid scraps to do.
Yes.
And there's one thing, I was talking to a guy last week, and he said, listen, if you get into real estate and you do not have 3 to 6 months bankroll, you will fail because you cannot make the right decisions. You lean on Zillow, you lean on these other platforms that give you that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And the other way that I've heard it is Zillow's like cocaine for real estate. Once you get started, you can't stop. Like, you're just cooked.
It might be like cocaine, but it actually real estate closings are like crack cocaine. It's like, oh yeah, we're getting it now.
Ooh, 10K, here we go.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. The problem with the Zillow deal, especially if you're an agent on a team, that 10K commission turns into $2,500 or something, and it's like
Yeah.
that. You really break down your dollar per hour, and it is very, very low.
Yeah. I have a spreadsheet for everyone that comes on board, and we go, okay, so like this is what you could be paying for this. This is what you're paying for this. And it breaks it down. And then we do it per lead instead of per hour because that matters more realistically.
Yeah, I can see your challenge in your business is getting, and this, I think this will get easier, but the challenge is getting agents to understand that they have to actively follow up with leads. With AI coming in development, though, AI will be able to replace that portion of it for sure. We're seeing it within Real Broker. I have it, like my AI has about 7,000 conversations a month right now. So
Yeah.
it's like I couldn't do that 10 years ago. Like it was all relying on me, I had to be on the phones. Now, I still think that's important for agents today to have their finger on the pulse and really aggressively doing it. But AI will replace that. If not already, it is going to definitely here soon.
The one thing that I'm cautious about is FHA laws with it. Because even some of the AIs that I have, they start giving recommendations.
Yeah,
And you're like, ooh, this is a gray area.
they hallucinate too much still.
Yeah.
That's our biggest on ours. So we have a lot of, probably, like I said, 7,000 conversations a month. And we'll be looking at it, and all of a sudden, our freaking AI is giving advice on how to put together a LinkedIn profile. And we're like, what the hell? We don't like, we're very, so there's things that it just says that are just ridiculous. I agree with you that it's got to, that's why I think it's still got to further develop. But I think it will, though. I think it's going to develop.
It's going to be really, really good. Like, we find it really good for writing long form pieces of longer forms So like newsletters are really good for it. You still have to proofread and everything. Blog posts really good for that. You can basically do it all with AI at this point.
Yep. Got it.
So you have quite a bit. I want to ask you as well, with you teaching people how to grow their personal brands.
Yeah.
Let's say a real estate agent wants to step into that space.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the first 3 things that they need to do after they set up their social media profile.
Let's see what are the most important. I think the very first most important, which it sounds cliche, is sit down and ask yourself how old you're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. If you have kids, how old are your kids going to be? How old your spouse going to be? Because one thing I know to be true is a day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a quarter becomes a year becomes a decade. And the most important thing you can do is get clear to where do you want to be 3 to 5 years from now and how you experience life. How do you what does that phase of life look like? It's like if you're going to fly from Wisconsin to Las Vegas, or you're going to travel from Wisconsin to Las Vegas, you could take a pedal bike, you could drive a car, you could fly on Frontier Jet. You could fly on Delta, Delta Plus, Delta Comfort. You could fly semi-private. You could fly private. Like the question you want to ask yourself is first is, can the vehicle that you're focused on get you to where you even want to go? Then the second is like a bike. I could get there from Wisconsin to Vegas on a bike. It's just going to suck. Then the second question is, can it get me there in the time frame I want to get there? Truthfully, I can't get there fast enough on a bike, right? It's going to take too long. And then the third is, can it get me there in the comfort that I want to experience it? Because we have to remember we're human beings and every day like is life. Like I want to enjoy today. I don't want to enjoy one day. And real estate agents are like stuck in this mode where it's like, if I can just hustle and grind 5 more years, get $1 million in the bank, start investing in some other things, then I can start to breathe and relax. And then the truth is you get there and then you're in the same fucking spot, right? So I think that's the very first thing is, where are you going? If you're not clear on why you're even doing it or where you're going, you're screwed. Because most real estate agents, they start creating these social platforms. They know that they got to create content. They have no formula to it. And they have no like, all right, what am I doing now? Like the purpose is to generate a lead, right? So that's step 1 is where you're going. Step 2, define your right fit client and your wrong fit client. Who do you actually want your content to reach? Who do you want it to attract? And who do you not want it to attract, right? And you know that you're doing content the right way when people are talking shit on you. If you don't have people telling you that your hair looks ugly or that your hat's on backwards or be more professional or you're an idiot, Google's not going to buy Zillow, the market's not going to, whatever, right? Whatever they want to tell you why you're wrong. That's a positive. You want that. But you have to know who you're talking to, because just as many people are talking shit, they are other people that like, yeah, this guy, this gal makes a lot of sense. I want to learn more about what this guy or this gal is all about. Let me slide into the DMs. So that would be the second is get clear on who's your right fit person and who's your wrong fit person, and just so you don't take things personal and you know who you're going for. And then the third thing is start making a consistent amount of content. Business is driven through outbound prospecting and marketing and advertising. So spend 2 hours a day creating content and start getting not one piece a week, not one piece a day, get 3 or 4 a day and start learning the formula. Like the more you do, the faster is you're going to be your feedback loop. And here's for people that want to create more content, very simple formula to follow. The first is you have to hook their attention. You have 3 seconds in short form and you got about 45 seconds in long form. Okay. So when you do a short form content, it's got to trigger them psychologically, where it's like, you just got to grab their attention. But the second thing is you got to keep their attention. The way you keep their attention is through problem stacking through the form of a story. So you're actually telling a story either about yourself that's experienced this problem, or one of your clients that's experienced this problem, or other person you know experienced the problem. So people, the viewer, can say, hey, that's me. I got that problem. Like, that's my problem. And then the third is you got to give them a prescription or a solution. And this is exactly what you do. And instead do this exact thing. Like you'd be very specific. And then you do first this, second this, third, and you give them a solution to go do. That's their payoff for hanging in there and watching with you. And you'll have 1 or 2 reactions with that. Either one, people are like, heck yeah, let's do it. Like this makes a lot of sense. I get that all the time. Agents send me DMs like, dude, I tried that thing. You're right. I could get 7%. You're right. I could do this. I could do that. Right. Whatever. And then you'll have this group of people. They will make sure to stop and comment and tell you in full detail why you're ugly and why you're wrong. You want that. That's good stuff. And have fun. Be playful with them. And then the fourth step is every piece of copy of this is how I do it, is in my copy down below, I use a call to action. Comment the keyword info to get my XYZ. And then that way I can now hook up my DMs to my AI, to my GHL, and I can start all these automations to start moving them into my sales funnel. So yeah, that was good for me. What's that?
Many chatting lead magnets. That is,
And I think ManyChat is
Sorry.
not even as great as it once was. Like ManyChat, I use for one thing. That's for a new follow, like because ManyChat's the one platform that does it right now. But I think Go High Level's comment to DM is by far superior than ManyChat.
interesting. I honestly, I don't have Go High Level, so I wouldn't know. I really love ManyChat. Yeah, I would say the hate comments are so true. I think right now my favorite is another kid in his mom's basement. I get that one a lot, and it's like, hey, that's interesting.
Remember where Steve Jobs started is in his freaking parents' garage. Like, go fuck yourself.
Like, I think my favorite one was it was a post when I was in Bali, so it wasn't even like I was in the country or anything. And so it's just if you get hate comments, just
And that
nature.
is like people in the comments when they're doing that, don't take it personal because what they're doing is there's a part of them that they're watching in you that they wish they had the guts to do. And because they don't, it's easier for them to tear you down than it is to just go build their own channel.
100%. 100%. It's just envy, basically.
Yeah. It's actually self-loathing is what it is. It's they are actually so disappointed with their inability to work through their fear and just go do it that they want to lash out and throw junk at you.
True.
And I try to have a lot of empathy actually for those people because they got to be suffering inside if they're willing to slow down and tell some dude that's hustling and trying to create something why they're a loser. Like, are you kidding me? There's no one I've ever met in my life, especially as a mentor, that has shamed me or put me down for trying something and fail. Like, it's like I watched my 13-year-old daughter. She's training with what's called the ECRL team. It's like a regional team that travels around to play soccer, right? And the coach last night said to her, she's like, you got to stop playing safe and you got to start playing dangerous. It's not about being perfect when you play dangerous. Make a mistake when you play dangerous, but when you play dangerous, sometimes you get it right and you make something magical happen, right? And that's really what it is these people they're not playing dangerous. They're playing safe. And by playing safe, the biggest mistake is they can never make anything really magical happen.
Exactly. And I think real estate especially, it's almost fail forward.
Shit, that's life, man. That's fail forward. It's like we literally are floating on a planet in the middle of outer space, close enough to the sun we're not melting, but far enough away we're not freezing. Like this is crazy to me. Like somehow I freaking exist. I had a 1 in 4 trillion chance, like maybe 400, like a ridiculous number. My semen was the little sperm was the winner in my mom, and that I even was born. Like I'm 1 in 8 billion people on the planet today. It's like, bro, you won the lottery. Game over. Like you already won. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially like if you're in the US as well. Then you really won.
We've really won for sure. I think if you're in the US, I think if you're in Canada, I think if you're in Europe, I think if you're in Australia, I think if you're in parts of South America, like the world is more opportunity today than ever before, regardless of where you're from. But if you're in the US, especially, dude, you literally were born in the best place on the planet for opportunity.
100%. All right, Colton, where you want to send people? Instagram, your Facebook?
Yeah, go to you have Facebook right now. I'm working with a guy that keeps thinking we can get it back, but I mean, Facebook support straight up said, "Hey, you're never getting it back." I don't know why.
Yeah, it's always Facebook.
Yeah, I know, but best is going to be Instagram at the WGR THEWGR on Instagram. That's the best place.
Awesome. Like that.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool.